A continuación, Perspectivas.
Conversamos con el senador por Florida, Rick Scott, y en esta ocasión vamos a hacer algo distinto, porque la comunidad venezolana lo conoce justamente como senador, como gobernador de una de las localidades más importantes para los venezolanos en Estados Unidos, pero no conocen al ser humano. En esta entrevista vamos a poder hablar con él, incluso va a poder dar algunos consejos a nuestros adolescentes, a nuestras familias, de cómo hacerse un triunfador en cualquier parte del mundo y particularmente en Estados Unidos. Thank you for this opportunity, Senator.
Es un placer. Los venezolanos son muy importantes para mí. Los venezolanos que están en Venezuela, en Colombia, todo el mundo y están en la Florida.
Yeah, thank you. So I would like to know better about your background because I was a little shocked. You just told us that you work in McDonald's, also in a donut store. You started when you were 7 years old.
Sí.
Wow.
See, I was born to a single mom. She eventually remarried. My parents never had any money. So I started working when I was 7. I threw newspapers, I washed cars, I cut grass, I sold things door to door. When I was, I think, 13, I worked in not in a McDonald's, but a hamburger joint.
Okay.
And guess how much I made an hour? 85 cents an hour.
85. Wow.
So my first week, it was in the summer, I worked 52 hours, and I think I made $32, took home $32. But guess what? I had more money than any kid in my neighborhood. And so I've worked my whole life. I tell my grandkids that the most important thing you can do is learn how to make money so you can support yourself and be independent.
Yeah, and that kind of advice, do you give it to your grandchildren? Like when you see them?
Every time I see them, if they're over 7, almost the first thing I say is, "Oh, you're still unemployed." I said, "So you don't know, you haven't figured out how to make money?" And so, because I think it's important. Every kid in high school, I tell them you should have a job. I mean, I don't care if you work 10 hours a week. Whatever you do, you should be doing something to learn how to make money and how to be self-sufficient, so you have your own money and you're not dependent. Like, I love my mom. I didn't want to work for her. I didn't want to be dependent on her, right?
Yeah,
I want to be on my own, like we all do.
Yeah, like we were talking about my kid, that he's 15 years old and he's always selling and buying things.
Right.
What kind of advice could you give him? I don't know, taking some risk. What will you take?
First time, here's what I tell people. First time, do something you enjoy.
Okay.
That's number one. Find something you enjoy, and then you've got to try something different than everybody else. If you're the same as everybody else, why would anybody do business with you, right?
Yeah.
You got to try different things, and don't worry about it. It doesn't exactly work the first time. Nothing's going to work the first time. You're going to have every business. I built businesses. I built the largest hospital company. I built a bunch of manufacturing companies, and you try a lot of stuff until you find out exactly what works. I mean, so that's what you have to do.
Yeah, you are not only a successful senator and governor, but a person. And recently, President Donald Trump said that he could be enjoying in Monte Carlo or maybe in a beautiful beach, but he prefers to stay in the political race, even if he is under fire. It's kind of the same story as you, but he said that he feels that he has a mission. Do you feel the same way, or you just enjoy helping people and doing what you do?
Well, my mission, I have a mission. My mission is make sure every child in this country has the same opportunity I had. If that's true, then this is a great country. If children don't have the opportunity to live their dream, right, it's not a great society. My mom told me, even though we grew up poor, She said, if you'll work hard and get a good education, you can be anything. And so that's what I think about every day. How do I make sure every child, not just half the children, not just, every child has a chance to live the dream of the country. And because we all have dreams. You have a dream, right? Your son has a dream. Your daughter has a dream, right? And how do you help them live their dream? And sometimes you might think their dream's crazy. They'll figure that out on their own. You don't have to figure it out for them. Yeah. So give them the opportunity to live their dream. That's what my goal is that create a country similar to the country I grew up in. It was the country of opportunity.
Yeah, and what is stopping us to have that dream? Because every year is harder and harder. We have a big debt, and we have it's not the same as our parents.
This is a very tough time for our country, but it's all fixable. When I became governor, the state had lost 800,000 jobs in 4 years. We had 1.1 million homes in foreclosure. More people were leaving the state than moving in. The state was losing money. We fixed all those problems. Federal government, we can fix it, the federal government, but we got to say, okay, we're going to fix it, and then say, okay, so what are the best ideas? Let's go do it.
Yeah, as a governor of Florida, you cut taxes every single year, more than 100 times. I just read that. Trump is working at the same idea. How this works and how this can be a big deal for simple families, entrepreneurs. It's not only like the rich and the big guys.
No. So the way to think about it is taxes, you pay for the taxes. If you don't pay the tax directly, if they tax a product, you pay for that product, you're going to pay for that tax. If you rent an apartment, you're paying for the tax on that apartment. I mean, they just put it into the rent. So if you want more businesses, if you want more job opportunities, what you got to do is you say, how do we make government more efficient so we can reduce taxes? When I was in the manufacturing business, I had to reduce my pricing every year. I had to get more efficient every year. Shouldn't your government get more efficient every year? And by the way, think about it this way. If we go from this number of people to this number of people, shouldn't we be able to spread the cost of government over more people and the costs go down?
Yeah, for sure. And do you think it's possible, you working with Trump in the White House and you as a leader of the majority in the Senate, what specific things you will build right away?
Well, number one, I've got to win my election. So I hope everybody goes out and votes. Number two, I want to win to be the Republican leader. And then if we get a majority, I'll be the leader of the Senate. Then what we have to say is, okay, what are the big problems? Let's go solve them. We can solve inflation. You solve inflation by don't have your government spend more money than it takes in. We can reduce taxes by making government more efficient, right? We need to get people back to work. We have 50 million people working age, not working in this country. We've got to say we're absolutely going to commit that we're never going to cut the benefits of Social Security and Medicare, and then say, okay, how are we going to do it? Most of that's tied to getting people back to work. So all these things are doable. I did most of them when I was governor. They're all doable. It's what business people do. We say, this is our problem. Might seem insurmountable at the time. We say, but I'm committed to doing it, and we'll come up with an answer.
Yeah, and you agree with Donald Trump bringing Elon Musk to bring more efficiency in the federal government?
Absolutely. The federal government is way too big. It's way more, it's very inefficient. I did the same thing. I cut the number of people working in state government every year I was governor. Every year. Because we figured out how could we provide more with less people. Because if the government gets bigger, then they're going to raise your taxes. I want your taxes to go down.
Yeah, I was a little shocked because last week we went to an event with you with the veterans, and the Venezuelans, sometimes we feel like we live everything, the harder things on the entire planet. And when I saw all the people saying, I went to Iraq, or in so many places, we realized that the United States is also suffering. Or have been suffering. How can you, explain the Venezuelan people? It's not only about United States protecting them, but also they fighting their own battles.
Yeah, if you think about it, if you want somebody to fight your battle with you, you got to be willing to fight it, right? You can't say, "Oh, you go fight my battles for me,"
Yes.
right? So, like, I really admire Marina Corina Machado.
Yes.
She put her life on the line, right? Her life is at risk right now, but she believes that the importance of freedom to her is so important that she's willing to put her life on the line. Anybody that wants freedom has to think that way. And so every Venezuelan has to think that way, every American has to think that way. And then together Maduro can be, we can get rid of Maduro. We got to make him, we got to all fight. And what's are the best ideas to get rid of Maduro? And then we'll come up with it.
Yeah, what kind of measure can we be taken like after like the election? I don't know, new ideas or
So
something
number
else?
one is I have a bill that would increase the ransom or reward, I guess, for Maduro to $100 million. So the more money we put up, there's probably somebody that's going to figure that out to get that money.
Yeah,
So,
and what happened? Like, it's the Democrats, it's not enough time before the election?
yeah, and we're not even in session before the.
Yes.
But if I'm the majority leader, we're going to have a vote on it.
Yeah.
And I get to decide what we vote on. So I think I have every reason to believe I can get that passed. Nothing's easy up there. It should be better than it is, and I'm going to make it better. But we have to sanction everybody around Maduro. We can't let them travel to the United States. We got to rally the international community that believes in democracy against Maduro. We cannot be negotiating with them like Biden and Harris are to let them sell oil to give them more money.
Yes.
So it's sort of all of the above.
Thank you so much, Senator.
Yeah. It's nice to be with you.
Senador Rick Scott por Florida, justamente dándonos un poco más de detalles sobre su vida y también las acciones que adelantaría si nuevamente es reelecto en el Senado de Estados Unidos.